As I welcome you this evening into this practice of movement, of mindfulness, of meditation, that begins with stillness, that begins with awareness, just arriving in your fullness. Whatever has gone on today is now in the past. There's water under this bridge. Where are you now? Checking in with the body. How does this body feel here in this moment? Follow the breath, follow the awareness. Just be here for a few moments. You might listen to the sounds and know that they're there. Know that there's sounds in the world. These sounds here from this device, from this connection, and any other sounds. There might be sounds in the neighborhood, sounds in the house, in the building. In this world of sounds, there might be small sounds nearby. There might be just an ongoing hum or buzz. Letting the mind move with the breath, with the awareness. Noticing what you notice. Notice if the mind is reminding and remembering and reviewing, or perhaps it's planning and hoping or worrying or imagining. Noticing where the mind is and where the body calls the attention. Take a moment to notice where there's any sensations. Maybe something is in pain even, and some sort of distress. Noticing how the body is communicating and what it might need. Maybe taking a deeper breath, if that's what the body needs and enjoys. And we'll begin little movements in just a moment, beginning today with the fingers in the hands. So you can do this in any position. You might be lying down on your back. You might be sitting, and I'll demonstrate in a place that you can see my hands, but they can be anywhere that they're comfortable, anywhere, just to truly isolate that movement of the thumb folding in and letting the fingers wrap around one at a time, from the index to the middle to the ring to the little. And then opening one at a time, the little finger, the ring finger. challenging the fingers to move one at a time as they open and fan out, and you expand and stretch and find the spaces between, and going slow, 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 several breaths per fist, per closing of the fingers around the thumb. And take your time with that, pumping a little bit, moving those tired muscles, fluids, little joints. Thanking the hands. What have the hands been up to today? Thinking back, maybe some food preparation and consumption, maybe some self-care. Perhaps you washed your face or some part of you today with your hands. So thanking the hands for their services, for their good work. Yeah, and letting the hands open and close. And playing one finger at a time, closing the thumb and opening the thumb, closing the thumb and opening the thumb 3 or 4 times. And along the row, index finger opens and closes just a few times, seeing how that feels. Can the other fingers stay where they are? How connected are all the fingers? Middle finger, all by itself, challenging the others to stay put. And down the line, a few opens and close. And when you feel like you've made your way across all the fingers and you might slow down somewhere that feels like, oh, that's been achy, oh, that's been stiff, the knuckles might need that little bit of a stretch. You might try tiny kitty cat claws, folding all the knuckles in any or various orientations. You might even try different pointings, different facings of the palms to see how that feels. Just closing the knuckles down, sort of like closing and opening the center. Some people even like to do a little pump in there with those closed fingers and the center of the palm closing and opening, getting in all those spaces. And then you see what kind of dance your fingers might need. They might need to wiggle. Some people might feel like bringing them above the heart, above the head helps some of those fluids drain down. If that's available to you, you might do some typewriter movements, getting them dancing around like once upon a typewriter. Rain falling down, getting the longer knuckles engaged there. And I think that might require a rest. All that activity, if you so chose it, might be enough to have a moment to breathe, to notice, to allow the body to respond, just to be present there for a moment. What just happened? What's that feel like? What's moving in the body? What is alive after that effort, after that engagement? And we'll move to the wrists. So when you're ready, the hands move up and down. And again, if you're on the floor, you might just prop up the elbows. If you're sitting, you might reach in front of you, or you might reach out with the elbows bent. You might keep them closer to your body if that's easier for the muscles of the shoulders. Just making some choices, what feels good. And from the forward and back, we explore rotations. And those rotations might be with soft fists. Those fingers might curl in a little bit, or they might be open, or they might be dancing around. You might have your own access to that part of you that, oh yeah, that needs a little more attention. So go ahead and make this your own. Let this be a exploration, an invitation. Whatever your fingers and wrists are calling you, figure eights or infinity symbols in the air. More nuanced movements in one direction, in the opposite direction. Where do the wrists need to go? What feels good in the wrists and the fingers in this dance of the hands? And as you do that, you might stay there. You might have something to work out. Something might be up with your fingers, or you might be ready to move that into the elbows. You might continue with the hands and the wrists. You might be piling these movements on one another, or you might be isolating them if you need to focus on a specific joint. But the elbows are about lengthening the arms and then touching the shoulders. And we've got all sorts of directions depending on where you are in your space. You might straighten them in front of you like you're receiving a beach ball. You might reach them up and overhead if you have the space to, and your elbows and your shoulders are agreeable to lengthen along the ears. You might reach out to the sides if that space is there for you, depending on what you've got around you. Move slowly, move carefully. You might explore all sorts of in the middle or asymmetrical things, noticing what your body is asking. You might try different angles, different ways that the thumbs point, pointing the thumbs up, pointing the thumbs down, seeing how pointing the thumbs forward, you can't see them there, forward or backward, can change the experience of the stretch. Change the experience for the elbows, how to get into some of these details. And at some point, let's stop with a right angle at the elbows. If you're on the floor, you've got it easy. You can rest the upper arms right on the floor. But moving into rotations, so drawing these circles around with the forearms. We know they close, we know the arms open, and so you're looking at the points in between the closed and in the open. There's a scenic route, a roundabout way, in one direction and in the other. And if you really want to get innovative, you can try a figure 8, a infinity symbol on its side, scooping in, scooping out, and then changing that direction, making that a backward effort. Working the body, working the brain. This is a multiple engagement activity here. And then a rest, to feel what you've done, to let the body surrender to gravity, surrender to this good earth up and under you. Feeling through that. As we move into the shoulders, and that might be with some shrugs, that might be with some little rotations. If you're lying down, you might like to sit up for the shoulders. It's nice to access some of those greater movements, but you can also do this right on the floor if that's where you are. And anything I suggest as a physical practice can be done with the mind. You can do it in your imagination, especially if something's broken or healing or really sore or tender. Do not force the body. Be gentle, be kind. So fingertips on the shoulders, if that's available to you, and then the elbows get close to each other. They try to meet. If they meet, great. If they don't, no worries. And then they open out and they try to say hello in the back. They probably won't meet, but they try to get a glimpse of each other. So you're opening through the chest and then rounding through the back, and a few times forward and back with the elbows, getting those shoulders to warm up. And especially when the elbows point back, it's like a superhero cape is on your back. You've got this emblem on your chest that you're showing, that you're brightly shining from. The heart is open and radiant, and you've got this shoulder blades towards each other as the shoulders move back. That's an important part of reversing what most of us do all day with our phones, with our computers, with our cars, with our food, with the stove, right? With people we're taking care of, with gardens, we're so often forward. So getting that back, you might even look up, you might get that right into the high release, into the upper body. And coming into rest as often as you need to, taking little breaths forward and back. And from an upright position, I recommend getting nice and balanced for the circles, for the rotations, drawing circles. Fingertips are on the shoulders and the elbows. If they had crayons on them and you were between two pieces of paper, you'd be drawing spirals on the walls to either side. In one direction, whichever one direction you chose, I'm demonstrating up in the front, down in the back, and you can reverse that direction up in the back and down in the front. Up in the back and down in the front, or up in the front and down in the back. 2 directions for the arms to rotate. And you can also start having fun and start making a number 8. Nice and vertical on this one, a number 8 with the elbows, if they were able to draw in the air and leave a little glowy trail. What would that look like? One direction, number 8, and switching that direction, switching the direction and going kind of backward, awkward, loop-de-loops, getting lost in the 8s, lost in the loops. And letting those shoulders rest as you complete those movements, noticing what else you might need, what that feels like, what it does to the breath. You are working with some of these parts close to the lungs. So there might be a natural organic demand from the body to breathe in deep and full. Yes, forward and back with the head and the neck, letting the head fold down and then look up. And that's the movement to warm up the neck. A slow motion, yes. Yes, and thank you for this day, this beautiful day in April here. Take a moment to think of the things that you've said yes to that have brought you the delight of the yes. Yes, yes, yes. And as you arrive back in the middle and the center, letting the head bob side to side, up and over, left and right. And if you like the philosophy of it, I like to think about the unknown, this sort of bobbing of, I don't know. Could be this, could be that. I see it this way, I see it that way. And that might be good for what you're needing today. And sometimes I like to get in there and look up and down while in the side bend. So that might be something moving slowly, moving gently, carefully, listening to your body. Nothing sharp, exploring. Is this something that I want? Is this something that feels good? To do it a little yes inside of the I don't know. It could be this. Yes, it could be this. And up and over. It could be that. Oh, yes, it could be that. Finding a little more organic exploration, getting at some of the details, seeing what the shoulders need and what to do to accommodate what the neck is feeling, what the neck is telling you. Side to side. You've done the forward and back, and now we go into the twist or the slow motion no. Looking over one shoulder, looking over the other. And we can play the same game. What have I set boundaries with? How have I said no? To have a better life. To make a container for that which is important to me. And by setting some boundaries. And you might combine a little looking over the shoulder with a up and down here as well. The head can be turned to the side and get a little looking at the ceiling, looking down at the floor. Going slowly, going carefully. Responding with the body, listening to the signals. Moving slowly and with the intention of healing, with the intention of responding to the body's needs, being a good friend and steward to this vessel of life. Moving the neck left and right and left, forward and back, whatever else you might need. There might be a rotation, there might be a spiral in there. Taking the next few moments to draw shapes with your nose. They might be round and spirally shapes. They might be infinity shapes. Let the jaw be soft. You might do a little air mouthwash. Check that the tongue is loose in the mouth. Thank you, neck. Neck gives us perspective. Neck lets us see what is behind us. Thank you, neck. With the exhale, letting go of that which is behind you. And with the inhale, taking on the perspectives that are helpful, taking on the perspectives that are in the service of your community, your family, or even your home and garden, wherever you are. All right, upper body, arms and neck. Let's hang out with the feet and the legs as we do. Finding a comfortable place to access the feet and legs. You might lie down on your back if that's a place you like to be. If you're a horizontal human, no problems there. Let's give you a little more visual space. Boom. No boom. Okay. So finding that awareness of the feet, and that can be in a sitting position as I'm demonstrating, if that's available and good for you. That could be lying down, that could be in a chair, that could be letting the feet hang off the edge of that chair. Just to focus on the toes, the way we began with the thumbs and the fingers, just this awareness of down there, the feet and the toes, as they move up and down, warming it up with a curiosity, with a, what's that feel like today? The crunch, the open. From the toes to the ankles, similar movement forward and back, pointing the toes, reaching the heels, the down and the up. And we can get fancy, we can divide the toes, have the big toes lead the way, do their dance first. There could be the little toes that lead the way and sort of fan out the toes, and combining that with the ankles, little inward and outward rotations, bringing the soles of the feet to the outside and the soles of the feet to the inside. So we've got pointing and flexing in the ankles and this inward outward, pronation and coming into a full rotation, coming into drawing circles with the toes, with the ankles, finding all the nooks and crannies, all the spots along the way, slowing that down to find all the little areas along the way, and then changing the direction. What goes one way goes the other way. Moving that in a circle around and around, and letting those ankles then move into figure eights, drawing those more subtle nuance, flipping it in the middle, movements circling around, and switch. Infinity symbols, and rest. Plenty, 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 plenty. Choose a leg, starting with one leg. We're going to keep this a little more gentle today. You'll hold on to the thigh, and you'll open and close that leg. That's what we need to warm up the knee, just bringing the heel to the thigh and then moving the heel away from the thigh. And so if you're sitting in a chair, you might just be lifting a tiny little bit. If you're on the floor, it might be easier to bring it up closer to the belly, wherever gravity supports you the most freely. And once you figured out that it can go this open today and this closed today, then you connect the dots with a roundabout. So that's a little more of a shift there in the hip, a little bit of a movement in the knee. Yeah, letting the hip be a rotating, responsive joint in this, pointing the lower leg, pointing as if the heel were a laser. In all these different directions, all these different places to point. We've got the circle in the backward, counterclockwise. And then we've got all kinds of other possibilities, a figure eight. See what you can explore, see what that feels like, what's available to your knee, a figure eight. Reversing that figure eight, doing an eight as if you were somehow drawing it backward. And you might also do an infinity, a horizontal infinity. All kinds of options here for the knee today. Oh boy. And a backward infinity, a backward horizontal infinity movement with the knee. Whatever else, you might need a rest. The knee might need some hands-on attention. It might need some warming up, some little movements, some goodness. Thank you, knee, thank you, knee, thank you, knee. And if you've done something on one leg and have not yet done it on the other leg, this is often my favorite moment to compare and to notice just how much the one side was impacted, just how much change there is. And when you're ready, you do got to even it out. The body won't let you get away with that. So whatever it is on the other side, it starts with super simple, up and down, lifting, lowering. Where does the knee go today? Woo! What stretches there? And try different foot positions. What does it feel like to point with the heel, to lead with the toes, to make a high heel shoe there, a toe bent back and the heel bent up shape. Trying all that differentness as you move with the knee, seeing how the different foot positions can impact your knee stretch. Once you've got that figured out, you move into a rotation, simple rotation to start with, around and around. Moving that in a clockwise and then a counterclockwise. I think I did the opposite, counterclockwise and then clockwise. Either way, you got two directions. Moving that around. And then playing with that. A number 8. Can you draw a number 8 if your foot were a laser pointer on the wall opposite? In one direction, in the opposite direction. In one direction and in the opposite direction. And if you want to play with it, to do an infinity, horizontal. Warm all the nuance of these ligaments, these tendons, the hips getting in on it. You change direction. You do up to 5, but maybe just 2 or 3 feel good enough. And then seeing what else the knee might need in terms of your good attention, your good kindness. Your hands might like to attend. You've warmed up those hands. You've got that good circulation as you let the legs rest. You let the legs rest wherever you are. Breathe for a little bit into the knees, into your ankles, into your feet for all that good work. And let's play with the hips. If you're sitting, bring both feet to the floor and let the feet come open out to the sides. You might do this lying down. It gets a little more pressure on the hips if that does, but you're in this butterfly position. If that's available to you, to flutter the knees, lift and lower the knees. And lots of things to do here. That this might be what you need. You might be feeling like, oh yeah, this hip, this whatever. I've been in the car, driving leg, whatever you've got. You might need to hang out here. You can fold the body over in the middle or over one of the legs, one of the knees. Finding what you need today, letting the spine be soft, letting this be a play with gravity, a sink and a soft, and looking for the different details, looking for what happens with the shoulder blades and the shoulders since those are warmed up. Reaching with an arm, maybe using one arm as a support, and reaching to the side over one leg, lengthens maybe all the way from the hip. Can you get some of those harder to reach areas between the ribs? Just letting this be organic, letting this be the body exploring its movements. And if you're sitting and your back feels tired, feels like it's been working, you might go into a sitting cat position with the rounding of the back and the swaying of the back, this forward and back, kind of chest in, chest out, and rocking and rolling through that. This can be done on a chair, forward and backward bend. Hands might be holding on to the feet, to the legs. You might even have the legs a little more closed if the hips are tight, if you need that, so that the spine can enjoy the activity. Hips and spine movement. If you're on the floor, bringing the weight to one bent leg and letting the other one twist over so that you're in a square-like position. And the same thing can be explored. There might be a little forward reach. Slow and gentle, being cautious. There might be a twist over that front foot, knee. There might be a bit of the twist to the other side, going softly, going gently, exploring what your body is telling you, how this lands, noticing the balance of how on or off the floor. And that can change position with a twist, with a rotation over the feet from the edges that are on the floor to the soles, knees point up and come opposite. If you have the space to do that, that's one way. The other way is to bring that weight over where you started. Fold one leg, open the opposite. So a couple different ways to change sides with this animal stretch position, this forward. Negotiating how your hips relate to the floor. More on the foot side leg is often the case. That's often what the body needs to do. And coming to the other hip might be a bit of a stretch on that back foot leg. It might be nice to fold over the knee that is comfortable, that is available. The hands can be supportive. Into the middle can be a little bit of a stretch for that front side leg, and then to the back side leg cautiously, maybe more of a tall twist. As we bring all this to the floor, if you are on the floor and is available to you, you might roll the weight to get the legs a little more tucked in to end up on the hands and knees for a cat pose. And you might have some other way of finding yourself there. And what I'll demonstrate here on the floor can happen in a chair. It can happen sitting down. The angle of the spine to the earth is a little different. The relationship with gravity is different, but the movements can be replicated. We were doing some of these earlier with that rounded back movement. This might be on the exhale as the body moves away from the ground, the hands push into the floor. And then an inhale position, lifting the hips, lifting the head. Rolling through the body this way, down and up and down. In a sitting position, this is that forward and backward bend. It can be focused on the hips. It might be the tucking, as if pulling a tail in between your legs, and the lifting of the tail as if lifting it up like a cat. Or it could be focused on the shoulders. It might be about the neck coming forward and then the head looking up. You do it with the way your body needs it. What are you longing for? What is the body in need of today? From a warm up here with this cat, the body does whatever it knows to and wants to. This kitty cat often gets a hula hoop. Yours might too. Yours might fold up and sleep. Yours might reach a hand or be playful. Yours might twist around. Allowing for any movements that come to your body, for the hips, for the shoulders in this cat position. They might include moving one of the knees up. They might include forward to the elbow or to the opposite elbow. That might include kicking back or lifting. You might make this into a balance with one leg up and the opposite arm. If it's a left leg, it's the right arm, or vice versa. What is this kitty cat doing and needing today? And whatever you do on one side, be sure to mirror it on the other side. It might be very different. The body might have some asymmetry, but you're finding its organization. You're finding its symmetry. Yeah. Feeling through the details. What needs to happen and be stretched today? My kitty cat here is stretching in the wrists very gently. I'm placing the weight opposite and giving it a little pressure. Just minding what feels safe in my body. And lots of ways to do self-massage, these little stretches, little details. You might tuck your toes under and bring some of the weight of the body over those toes and rock left to right, right to left to massage the feet. Sometimes it's nice even to place the arch of one foot in the sole of the other, and then as the body shifts its weight. There's a massage that happens there, foot to foot, if that's available to you. And that might require keeping some of the weight off the feet. You might still need the floor to hold the hands and to balance some of that intensity out if there's lots of tension. Little wiggles, little dances, little movements to massage, and whatever happens on one side, be sure to include it on the opposite. The feet, the wrists, the hands, the shoulders, the hips, the cat poses give us access to everything, to the spine, to the neck. So whatever else your cat might need, it might need to rest, fold it up. It might need to rest stretched out, giving your body what it needs. And taking a few breaths there, finding a position of rest, a position that's comfortable, something supported, something that you feel you can surrender into for 5 deep, slow, long breaths. And you might choose to stay there a little longer. This is where your body might feel that it needs to be, wherever you are in your resting position in your breath. And you might begin to wake up. You might choose to start emerging from there, wiggling out of there. We're going to be moving towards a mountain pose or a downward dog as you are following along. If you're on the floor, you're coming to the hands and knees. You might tuck the toes under as you prepare to lift off with the knees and bring the hips up into the sky. And if you're in a chair, you might come to standing and walk around to the back of the chair and hold the back of the chair and do a standing version of just this forward bend of holding on to something as your body comes into a right angle. If you're on the floor, you might rest back on your knees. You might rest in a standing fold. Noticing what you need, where the body needs to go today. You might need to come right back down. Take a few breaths. There's no rush and no hurry. We'll be with this practice for a few good minutes. This is an important one. And just as a review, if being upside down is too much for you, this can be done with the support of a piece of furniture. It could be a wall, it could be a chair, it could be the back of a couch if it's somewhere in the middle of the room like that. If you got the space to be in that forward bend, it's about opening through the armpits and these muscles that connect into the shoulder. It's about giving a little compression to these muscles that makes them feel a little better as their underside is stretched out. Whether you're on the floor or with a chair, you can bend the knees, lift the heels, and try to get the belly closer to the thighs. Engaging the spine and noticing how your tail is pointing. If your tail had a laser pointer, would it be pointing down to the floor or up to the sky? Where would your tail be pointing? And can you point it down to the floor? Letting the body guide any explorations. You might have a hula hoop on that doggy position on that mountain. You also might be moving knee to the front, to the elbow, or to the opposite elbow. However that works in your body, it might just be very much towards. It might even be a thought. And that leg might reach back, behind. A couple different ways to orientate it. After we warmed up the knee, you know that lower leg can point all kinds of places, all kinds of directions. You might be exploring a bent knee and pointing the foot to the inside, to the outside, up, not so up. Seeing what you got there, maybe some walking in place. Resting as you need. What I'm showing is an option, and I've got the prop of a chair here. Some of you are on the floor, so give yourself rest. And another few more breaths, however you need them, down low. We're coming up, we'll be coming up to standing from here. As you take a few more moments to get what you need from this. Oh good, I was worried I'd be invisible with this color pants, but luckily they're different enough of a color and there's enough light outside on this evening day in April. As you arrive to standing, take your time to find a few minutes to even orientate what it means to be on 2 feet in your human form. We won't be up here very long, don't worry. We'll take a few minutes standing, get all the major lines of connective tissue through the body, and then you will go into rest, into a guided breathing practice, a guided yoga nidra. But let's get this whole body stretched out. You can also do this sitting down. If your body's like, there's no way I'm standing, we can honor that. You can sit in a chair and just work with the upper body. If you're standing, it's nice to find where your feet are, to find, I mean by taking the awareness down there, to notice, feel the toes. Can you identify each toe? Big toe, there you are. Second, third, fourth, fifth, connected, boom. Heel, connected. A little engagement. The heels, the ankles move up on the insides just a little bit, like you're about to pick something up with your feet, but you stop part way. That little bit of engagement, you might notice how that rotates the hips out, makes you a little stronger. Soften the knees as if you're about to jump. Got those outside edges of the feet grounded. And you interlace the fingers, bringing the hands together and folding the fingers towards each other, flipping that over, lifting the arms. Elbows are open, but the shoulders are down. The shoulders are low, and the arms lift, and then they rest on top of the head. You let the shoulder blades rest. They might need to come all the way down. You see what your body needs. It might be nice to just rest here. It might be nice to come down. But we'll do that a few times, up and down, the arms. Some of you might just, oh my gosh, just might need that for your armpits. And some of you might get up on your toes. You might lift off in this position to an even higher realm. Holding this balance on the tippy toes. And if you're on the tippy toes, it's kind of fun to imagine that your hands stay right where they are. And even when your heels come down, your hands have to stay where they are. So you get even longer through the elbows, through the waist, through all these spaces between the hips and the ribs. All this can get even longer, more expanded as you reach in those 2 directions. The body is reaching up, 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 and down at the same time. The body's reaching up even when the heels come down. A few times. A few times up and down. Gorgeous. And stepping wider when you feel satisfied with that first practice. Taking a wider stance, letting the arms rest on the sides. That wider stance helps us keep our balance. It helps you be a little steadier because we're going to do something wonky, go side to side. Letting the hand just trace the edge of the leg there, not past the knee, no further than the knee. It's going to be just a little bend to the side. And this might be great. You might be needing this. You might want more. You might want the arm to start reaching up towards the armpit, hand towards the armpit, elbow open, elbow reaching up. That might feel good. Letting this hand reach all the way up to the armpit as the floor side hand goes to the knee and the ceiling side hand goes to the armpit. You want even more. You want to let that arm stretch past the armpit into a long, straight side bend arm. All the different options. Go as deeply as your shoulders want you to, as your body feels calling to open. And some folks interlace their fingers like they were just before and have that arm up in the air position, low in the shoulder blades. And what I've discovered in my body, when I do it in this way, I find that the neck is a little more stabilized, that the shoulders are a little less party to the activity, and it's more about the waist and the hips. So if that's something that you're feeling a little stiff in the low back, this might be your buddy with the arms up. So noticing how it works in your body, noticing what you need, where those arms are most comfortable, what you're able to access with the arms low. How's your neck in this? How are the shoulders? Side to side. And a rest and a few breaths arriving as you satisfy your body, your curiosity, your need for the side movement. We're going to move into a standing twist. So you arrive at the center, you take a moment to ground, to find, and you make a great big starfish. You reach out to make as big of a position as your body can make. Open in the fingers, open in the toes if you can. Feel your tall back of the body. Really, how big, how blossomed, how expanded and extended can you make yourself? Open, open, and then wrap it around. Let the fingers wrap around and look over the shoulder. The arms go one hand to the opposite shoulder, the other one rests on the back. And this is what you do. You might do it slowly. You might get into that twist and just hang out there and actually have a hand kind of grabbing that shoulder if that feels good. Breathing, being taller with every inhale, going deeper with every exhale. That might be what feels good to you. You might like to go quickly. Your body might be wanting a dynamic practice in which the shoulders are loose and the movement is about the spine. So getting some of this standing twist into your body, into your system. Welcome twists, welcome nervous system, welcome spine. Thank you, spine. Thank you for holding it up. Holding up this show and moving boldly through life as an upright citizen. As you come back to a center position, as you bring your feet back under the hips, as you finish the dynamic or the slow twisting, coming back to standing, feeling that emblem on your chest, that open heart, superhero cape, tall and bold for the future that's coming at us. Take a few breaths there. We've got some time. We've got some time to do a little more wide stance and turning to one side for options of warriors and or archers. So if you have things you want to work out in your hips and your thighs, you might have a little moment bending the front knee, letting that back quad get in on it, get that stretch. You might even kind of do I think of this as a snow ski, cross country. There we go. Cross country ski movement where you let your hips twist open and closed. That might be what your body's needing today. That knee can be lower or higher. You know, that distance between your legs, you're going to find where you've got your sweet spot, where your leg gets the stretch you want for it. And that might be your need. And you might also, or instead, you might pick up a bow and arrow and do some stretching of the elbow towards the back, opening through the shoulders, keeping the head without moving. The head stays in its twist or comes into a twist by the front of the body opening. And whatever you do on one side, you're going to also do that on the opposite side, and you might just pivot around on your heels. Discover what this side feels, what this side needs. And possibly adding a bow and arrow. Oh, I was doing it all sloppy. I need to keep my eyes focused in one direction. I'm shooting, but I was warming up, and you might need that too. Your neck might be asking for that kind of movement. Whatever you're doing, do it with awareness, right? Take your time with these left and right, doing at least 2 rounds and maybe even 3 to each side. These can be modified for chair with a side moving bow and arrow right there on the chair. Some of those backward stretches might, for the quad, if depending on how much access there is to movement in the legs. Certainly all these stretches to get into the side body, that whole flank, hip to armpit. So bows and arrows, warriors. Moving through that at least 2 times on each side, a warm-up side and a little deeper side using the breath. We'll do a forward-backward sequence. A forward-backward bend as you complete that movement, getting all warmed up through the hips, through the shoulders. Can be done sitting as well. This can be done about the high release and a forward fold. And in standing, it's the first 3 looped positions of a classical sun salutation. So it's a beginning with a preparation and intention. The hands come together at the breastbone and the spine is tall. That's reaching up. You've got that superhero cape attitude. The arms open. I'll demonstrate low with the arms opening down. High release. The chest is open. The face looks up if that's available, if that's okay. And then folds forward. It might be as easy as hands to the knees. It might just be this little bit of a rounding. Inhaling. Ah. Exhaling. Tall. Inhale. Back. Exhale. Forward. Hang out there for a few breaths. Let the spine round out. Let the head be heavy. And then inhale back to that that open. And exhale to the center. You might choose to give more weight to the body with a different arm position. You are welcome to do as your body leads you, as deeply, as intensely as feels comfortable in your body. And you might know and enjoy the whole sequence, and you might be longing for that today, to go into a sun salutation that you know that your body enjoys, and that's your practice. This is your time. So let's take the next minute in forward or tall, backward, forward, backward, tall combination. Soften the knees as you honor the body. Letting this be about a movement that is nourishing, supporting, that is kind to your body in the ways that feel good. Welcoming the growing energy, this growing light, this increasing light that we have as we approach the summer. As we're approaching the midpoint of spring in 2 weeks. With May 1st coming so quickly. So doing a few of those forwards and backs and this gesture of acknowledging the sun salutation and the great force that is the sun in our system here. And then coming back to center. We'll do a balancing posture And we'll shift into some of that internal work. So we've been doing the flute player, and we'll continue on for the month with this posture. It might just be placing the toes on the ground. It might be leaning the heel on the foot. If you've got it in you to cross over, the invitation is to cross the ankle over the lower leg. The lower body needs to find its steadiness and stability. You might be near a wall, and that's also, I might use the tree, huh? I should use the tree if I'm going to use this to support you. Once you find the foot position, finding the arm positions begins with a cactus arm, and each of the hands is closed middle and ring fingers to the thumb so that index and little fingers point up. And on the same side that the knee is pointing, both hands are there. One face is forward, one face is back. And the game is to stay balanced. The game is to stay tall, to keep the eyes focused, and at some point that's not moving. The fingers are perked up, the spine is perked up. And the body knows, I've got this. I'm balanced, I'm steady. And what you do on one side, you'll do on the other. As these few breaths of balance bring you that cue that this is enough, time to switch. Holding that balance, finding that balance, at least 2 times on each side, maybe 3. Balance is strengthening for the whole body. It's that lengthening upright, that hooking yourself into the sky energetically that allows you to master the balance on one foot here. The perkiness in the fingers, that perkiness in the spine, this conviction, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. Strong and steady. Focus in the eyes, focus in the mind, focus with the breath. Check with your body. Notice what you might need. Notice what the body might be asking for. What else does it like after these kinds of efforts and movements? Does it just want to get comfortable and lie down with a cushion under the knees? Or do you want another stretch, another balance? Maybe some of you like to do a twist, lying down, moving a knee over the straight leg on your back. Some of you like to do some more dynamic stuff for your hips, whatever you need there. This fantastic human body. Thank you, body, for all you did today and all the days leading up to this moment. You made it here. Congratulations. You made it to this fine April evening. Thank you, body. That's right. In just a minute, I'll guide you through a breathing practice, and then we'll move into our yoga nidra work. And for that, I do invite you to have the most deluxe setup that you can organize for yourself, right? If you're not going to get your 5-star practice on, who will? So if there's a blanket nearby or a pillow to put under the knees or some way to make you more comfortable, maybe you need a different sweatshirt at this time or a pair of socks or something, don't hold back. You will miss nothing if you run to get something to accommodate your comfort. You will only benefit from that. So if there's some part of you that's needing a thing, needing an object, go get it. And as you get your things and your objects, get comfortable. Get sorted out with what you need to be really, really well comfortable. If you followed these instructions, you know, I try to speak slowly. I know I can get excited sometimes, but I try to offer them as suggestions, but it's a workout. It's a workout. You might feel a little change in heartbeat and heart rate there. You might feel your breath moving. You might have a little tingling in your toes and fingers, noticing what you notice. And letting the breath move in the body. And be here on earth as we began, so we come full circle to this feeling of gravity, this knowing. And that the earth is beneath you, this knowing that you are held right here upon this planet with this great abundance of atmosphere. This planet is enveloped in air that's perfect for this human body, this air that's just the right nourishment. So as you inhale, receive this inhale as a gift, receive the nourishment that is the inhale. Fill your body with these things it needs and longs for, the oxygen, the noble gases, the strength, the flexibility, everything you need. The inhale can bring, it can deliver. So welcome those inhales. Breathe it in. And release these exhales as the gifts that they are for the trees, gifting the trees with the exhales. Part of this magical atmosphere, this perfect atmosphere here on earth. Feel yourself breathing as part of that. You are a co-creator of this atmosphere. Your every exhale is a letting go, and everything is welcome to be let go of, right? Everything, the earth takes it all. The autumn leaves, any of these organic bits and pieces, she takes the earth. Your exhales are given to the trees. And the way your kitchen waste is given to the worms. So allowing these exhales, knowing these exhales are nourishment, inviting these inhales, receiving these inhales. And let the awareness be at the space of the throat. In the past weeks, we've worked with Ujjayi pranayam, and let that be our continuation. You might know this breath. You might move right into this breath of Ujjayi. If that's something you're familiar with, begin at your pace. I will instruct it. I will deliver the teaching of what this is. This is a tranquilizing breath. It's sometimes called the deep ocean breath. And with this focus at the throat comes into a vocal pattern. It's a bit like a contraction. It's a bit like an expansion. Some people experience it one way and or the other. The focus is at the throat. And the throat comes into a vocal pattern almost like a roar. With no vocal sound, it's the letters AH that come in on inhale. Through a closed mouth. And the letters HA that come out with the exhale, again through the closed mouth, as if moving the air through the throat. And it might sound very faint. It may have no sound at all. And it might be a breath you've practiced and are able to get a bit of a purr going, a snore going. Welcoming this breath, however it shows up today, with this focus at this throat, this muffled roar, this vocal pattern, as if you were about to roar. And this is a warming breath. Notice if you feel the warmth emanating from the area of the throat, maybe in the hands, maybe in the feet. The breath warming, and the mind following whatever whisper the breath is making, the mind watching this sound, letting the mind anchor to the sound, bond with the sound, the awareness so close to the sound, closer and closer. And let that go. And let the breath come naturally. Let the breath come and go free, natural and easy. And just be with the breath. Be with the breath, with the inhale and the exhale, coming and going. Thank you, body. Thank you, breath. Receive these inhales, the gifts that they are, their nourishment, their replenishment of all that you need. Do you need more confidence? Do you need more patience? Do you need more faith? Let the inhale bring it. Let the inhale bring it. And the exhale lets it go. Making space. The exhale provides a cleanup from the inner landscape. So these fresh deliveries can deliver, can nurture. Prepare for the practice of yoga nidra. Check that the body is organized in a way that feels comforting, that feels good, that you've got what you need under the knees or at the neck. And there's no special position. You might be on your back. That might be your delicious nest. You might be in any other position or place. You might be on your side, on your belly. You might be sitting, leaning back. This practice of yoga nidra today will be about patience. As we move into this greater light, as the season comes to find us. And so many things bring hope. And yet so many things are moving slowly that we must honor. Cultivate our patience, cultivate our slowing down, even as the spring accelerates. It is ours to be slow and cautious, to make good decisions now with no rush. And that begins with this place of rest. This begins with slowing down the body, releasing any sense of rush from the breath, from the heartbeat, releasing any sense of rush from the limbs, from the joints. And so taking this moment to organize, to see what needs to be more comfortable, where can the body be accommodated. And it might be nice to hum with the exhale. That might feel good. And perhaps the breathing exercise was plenty as far as the throat. You know what you need. If you need to hum a little bit, maybe a yawn, maybe a full sigh, maybe an exhale with a oh sound that lets you let go and arrive. Be heavier. Be more on the floor or more in the chair, more on this furniture, better held, surrendered, resting upon gravity. The body resting. And let the body rest. And let the body breathe here, comfortable, resting and breathing. Resting and breathing. Listening. Listen to all the sounds, to any loud sounds that might be at a distance, maybe out in the neighborhood, somewhere in the building, in the house. Listen to the sounds nearby in the room. The sounds of this technology here, these instructions, any sort of buzz or hum that's just there, part of life. Listen. Listen for the sounds of the body, the heartbeat, the digestive sounds, any little clicks or clicks in of the body. And listen for the heartbeat. And listen to the knowing, the inner knowing. What does the body know today? What does the body know? Listening in. What does the body know? You might have a resolve or an affirmation that you use on a regular basis. This will be the moment to repeat that in your mind and your heart. This would be the moment to generate in your body the way you wish to feel. This is where you might ask your body to show you how you wish to feel and let yourself feel that. Even if it feels make-believe, even if it feels like an imagination, trying that on, inviting that on. How do I wish to feel? What would that feel like in the body to feel the way I wish to feel? What am I calling? Desiring, longing for today? How do I wish to feel? And can the body show you? And feel the earth beneath you. And the way the body is held, all the places that contact the floor, the earth, the furniture under you. Connecting with the patience of the earth, the speed at which this earth is rotating, and the speed at which we humans feel that movement. We see it as the sun moving across the sky, and yet here we are so steady, so still, it doesn't even feel like movement. Feel that steadiness of the earth, the stillness of the earth, that patience of moving so slowly and so consistently, doing the work little by little by little by little, feeling the stillness of the earth beneath the body, and taking a moment to breathe in patience, breathe in all the time in the world. The movement of the earth and this movement of the sun across the sky is how we tell time, how time is marked and made through the sun and the earth, through this rhythm. What does it feel like to try on all the time in the world? Breathing in, feeling into I've got all the time in the world. Inviting that into the body, into the space of the heart. Inviting that to the part that wishes and knows how it wishes to feel. Inviting all the time in the world down into the feet, down into the right foot and the right heel and the sole of the foot, the big toe, second toe, third, fourth, and fifth. All the time in the world at the top of the foot and the right ankle, and the lower leg and knee, and the thigh and buttock and hip. And down by the left foot, all the time in the world, in the heel and sole and the toes, big toe and other toes, top of the left foot and the ankle and calf, knee and thigh, buttock, hip, the pelvis, all the time in the world for the pelvic floor and the groins left and right, for the tailbone and the sacrum, around to the pubic symphysis and the edge of the pelvic structure, all the time in the world for the content of the pelvis, organs and organ spaces, pockets in the body filled with fluids, and the processes of life itself, of digestion and filtration and elimination, and the intestines and the stomach, spleen and liver, and gallbladder and pancreas, all the organs of digestion, the ribs with the lungs on the left and the right, and the heart beating and pumping, all the time in the world, to the shoulder blades left and right, and into the armpits right and left, up to the right shoulder, upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist and hand, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring and little finger, palm of the right hand, back of the right hand to shoulder, right shoulder to left shoulder, upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist and hand, left hand, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring and little finger. Awareness at the palm of the hand, the back of the hand, and the left hand to the left shoulder, and the collarbones left and right in the hollow between. Front of the neck, back of the neck, back of the head, sides of the head, all the time in the world for the left ear and the right ear, for the temples and the cheeks, for the jaw, chin, lower lip, upper lip, left nostril, right nostril, tip of the nose, bridge of the nose, left eye, right eye, eyebrow center, forehead, hairline, to the crown of the head, all the time in the world, for the head and face, the neck and shoulders, all the time in the world, the left arm and the right arm, and chest and upper back, low back, abdomen, pelvis, left leg, right leg, together, all the time in the world for both legs and the trunk and both arms, the neck and head together, the whole body, the whole body, the whole body. Be aware of the whole body, resting, breathing, the whole body here in this practice that is the awareness in Yoga Nidra. The whole body here and resting, here and breathing with all the time in the world. Breathing in all the time in the world and breathing out all the time in the world. What does patience feel like in this body? Trust the body to breathe in as slowly as it wants to. Trust the body to arrive at the top of the inhale in its own knowing. It switches from inhale to exhale. In its own speed, it lets go. And trust the body to know when the exhale is over and to switch, to flip from inhale to exhale, from exhale back to inhale. It knows when to make that shift. You can let go, be a watcher, be a witness to the body breathing through its 4 phases. It's receiving, the flip, the releasing, and the flip. In total freedom, in total freedom. Trust this body. How do I wish to feel? If I had all the time in the world, how would I wish to feel? How would I feel to have all the time in the world? What would I do? What could I do? What would I feel? Let the body show you. Maybe there's an image, a plan, a vision. Maybe there's a feeling, a physical experience, a sense in the flesh. Maybe just a hunch, a knowing, a little inkling. And gathering that up, gathering that body wisdom together. How do I wish to feel? And what would I do, and how would I do that with all the time in the world? Listening to that inner wisdom, listening to the world, to the sounds in the room, maybe outside, maybe beyond the windows, listening and listening to the body, to the physical sounds, to the breath and the heartbeat and the digestion. Feeling the breath move in the nose, feel the breath in the throat and the chest and the belly. And invite the breath to expand. Slowly deepen the breath as you feel the whole body. The whole body. Front and back here, right side and left side, upper, lower body. Feel the outside of you, the surface, the support of the surface beneath, and the touch of clothing and covers on your skin. As you invite a deeper breath, as you tell yourself that this practice is ending, this practice is concluding, the breath can deepen. Make little movements, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes. Maybe moving the tongue and the mouth and making little faces with the eyebrows, the nose, swishing around the air in the mouth. If you choose to awaken, if you choose to emerge from this state of rest for a second wind, for some more activity tonight, begin to make movements, little wiggles. You might stretch, you might reach. This practice is completing as you awaken and move in any way that your body needs to and wants to move. You might yawn, you might hum again. It might feel good to make some sounds. You might rub the hands together. That might feel good to bring them together. You might massage your earlobes. That might wake you up. You might cover the eyes and massage your forehead and your eyebrows. That might be what you need. Little movements waking you up. You might massage your fingers on each of the hands, having the index finger and thumb pinch the fingers, taking turns on the opposite hand. Little things to awaken you, to get you awake if that's what you need, where you're heading tonight. Thank you for showing up and being here. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and leave a comment about your experience. And while you're here, please subscribe to my channel and opt in for notifications to catch the next class I upload. And then head over to olgachwa.com to join in a live event or to work one-on-one with me. I'm here to help.